Alright, welcome back to the Great Circle, the African Survival Adventure game, available on Steam and PC. I'm TJ, developer and creator of the project, bringing you a live development stream, and going to be doing some questions and answers while we do some work on the game here. You can follow the Great Circle on basically any social media site. Type in the Great Circle game or follow the link in the description. If you want to play the Great Circle, it is available for PC on Steam. Go to Steam, type in the Great Circle, or follow the link in the description. You can download that free demo, add it to your library. It updates automatically. Also, wishlist the full game. Be ready for it when it comes out. If you have any questions about the gameplay, what can you do, what are the mechanics, what are some story things that'll be involved, you can go ahead and ask it in the chat while we're going here. And yeah, let's just go. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll just shut up now and start working, and hope you have a good day. And what we're doing here is just painting areas of where the grass is going to be blending together. These are two separate regions here. This is a more dry grass region down here. And here's a more green region. This is the central of the entire map of the game. This is called the central grasslands. Oh wait, there's a road missing here. There's like a gap over there. So yeah, this is like the central region. This is what it looks like when it's lit. Below the fog, atmospheric fog and everything. Hang on one second. Let me get down to ground level. So this is like the central region here. Very big, wide open fields. You can see from great distances. Not a lot to obstruct your vision. Not yet, at least. There's a big landmark in the middle. It's called the Stack. And you got some tourist roads here. But anyways, this the south of that, this is an area where some lions like to hang out right there. South of that, you have the drier grass region. So this is where what I'm doing right now is blending this shorter green grass with you start to get into this longer grass there. Actually, you know what I think I want to do is longer green grass and then long brown grass after that. But once you get down here, it's very much dry. I think what I want to do is brighten this texture up a little bit. There's some issues where it gets dark around here, where it seems a little, I don't know, something's a little bit off. Looks almost wet. But yeah, but we're very much into the South Savannah down here. Now, this is our new landscape material where it's a lot more efficient, and we're going to be getting more frames off of this here once it's fully implemented. But what I am trying to do is recreate what was already done with a less efficient material. And because it looked good, but it just wasn't performing very good. Now, I went in and reworked some of that coding and stuff, and it's going to perform well as we want it to look exactly how it used to look, but it's not quite there yet. Let me just show a quick example before versus where it is now. This is what it used to look like. I like this, grass pretty much an even height here. We're playing a giraffe right there. Performance is actually not bad, but this is actually one of the better performing areas on the entire game. This is like something like 30 frames or whatever. We want it 30 frames minimum for most PCs, so 60 is going to be the median, is where we want it, but 30 should be like the absolute minimum for the absolute minimum spec cards. So I think we can get there. I think actually what we need is less lower root grass and more tall grass. The only thing is for like snakes and like small animals, we kind of want something to look at down there, not just like ugly texture or whatever. So it's creating on a few different levels. Hey, what's up, Dino 2003? How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Happy Tuesday, folks. August 9th. So I'm about to mess with so you can see the difference here is there's a lot more of this low grass before that taller grass comes in. I'm about to actually reduce some of that lower grass. It's a little bit of a waste of memory since you can't see it mostly from the top, but if you're down here, you can. There's a little bit of a scaling issue here. I feel like this grass is a little bit big. So actually, let me grab that real quick since I think I can do that pretty quickly and easily. I'm going to scale that down. Don't mind the texture quality right now. It's not rendering the full quality in the editor. It's rendering like a 50% quality because you know, it just helps it run better. And for my computer to stream and do this, it's gonna render it lower. But for you guys, it'll be fully rendered top quality in the game as long as you're running Epic. And it looks even better if you have a better, newer GPU. This is probably one of the best looking games out there if you're on a lower end PC too, though, as well. Like even with lower settings, I think it looks very, very decent, very strong. Like this looks nothing like the full quality of this dry grass right here. All right, so what we're gonna do is mess with the scaling of the texture right there. Let me find the specific set. I'm on caffeine right now. I'm ready to go. I can go for 12 hours. No stops like this. Let's see. I think this is it. Across 2. No, this is 3. Dino2003 says it'll work on low-end PC. Yes. Now, when I say that, I'm primarily talking about the GPU. A PC is more of an overall view of your system because it's not just the GPU, it's the CPU as well. And you know, your DirectX version and all that. But if primarily talking about the GPU, if you have a 1030 or better, I think you're gonna get good, strong performance in the range of 25 to 30 frames, low end, and I want that to be consistent for most people. With your settings near on or near Epic, I think you should get somewhere around 20 to 30 frames minimum in the South. That's been the best performing region traditionally. Now the best performing region is probably South Desert, which is even south of here, because it has less like foliage and stuff. But that's going to perform even better too. So let me see. We made room. Here we go. Here it is. Detail. I'm gonna try to make this texture here smaller. Let's try this value here. I think we reached the law of diminishing returns for that. Let me go back to 2. Actually, 4. Let's go to 8. Hang on. Okay, that might be the sweet spot right there. I think that's the sweet spot. I was trying to get it to match by eyeball this here. I feel like we're closer there than anywhere before. Okay, so that's all good. I'll go ahead and save that change. Dallas is interesting that what the Steam spec requirements say for higher end PCs. I forgot what we put. It should be 1030, I think. I might have actually put a different one. Let me double check. I think officially what I want to say is 1030 should be like the lowest GPU that you should have. I might have a lower one there listed, but if I do, I'll change that momentarily. I think that at the time, if I had a different one, I think at the time what I did was I just based it off of what the aisle had listed, because the the requirements were very similar, and I noticed a bunch of other people did that too. But like, I think for me now, having the data now, having some more experience now, I think 1030 makes sense for the minimum. Some people will put a lower end GPU than what you should actually be using on the game because they know it'll show up on Steam for more customers and it'll possibly get them more sales. But I think that that'll probably get you worse reviews because people will get on the game and it's like you're not being honest with what your game spec should be. So I think 1030 is more in line with where we are. Before, being a newer game, I think it was very reasonable to just go off of what somebody else did. But I think that now, having results and stuff, I think 1030 makes sense. Okay, having done that, this is where we want to blend the grass because we can kind of see like a line of demarcation right here. We need more green on the brown side than the opposite. Actually, that's not bad. That's not bad mixing right there. Let's just do a little more blending. Some more green on the brown side. And we'll go back over and do some more brown on the green side too. It's a really, really weak brush. We'll skip the road. Okay, now we'll switch it up and put the brown on the other side. Easier to see like this. Requirements: minimum GPU, GeForce, GTX 960. Why do I feel like the GTX? I think there actually was a reason beyond just seeing that the other game used it. Let me just cross spec that against the 1030 real quick. That actually might make sense. The GTX. I'm thinking about a low profile GPU versus that. GTX 960. Okay. Okay, it's not actually a direct comparison. It looks like the 960 GTX is better than the GT 1030. I felt better saying GT 1030 because I actually tested on that hardware on one of my PCs and was getting 25 to 30 frames minimum. So that's what it made me feel like. So I actually might be expanding the range by putting GT 1030. %. What the fuck? That's gotta be wrong. Both the 1030 and 96 cost 110. What? Seriously? I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig into those specs a little bit. Um, but yeah, it looks like I would actually, if I'm trying to get sales, I would put 1030 because it's a lower spec card. Steam has like automatic hooks for that kind of thing, so I think you would get a wider exposure by putting 1030. And I think I have the credentials to put it in there because I actually tested on the hardware. So it actually, I think it would make sense to change it to 1030. What's up, Dido? How long will I be streaming today? I don't know, but I'm going to be working on the game all day. That's all I do when I'm awake is work on the Great Circle. So, you know, nobody should ever be surprised if streams are like 5, 6, 12 hours or whatever. That's how long I'm actually doing the game. It's just I can't show everything because I want some of the stuff that I'm working on to be secret. I'm not ready to show it, or I'm self-conscious or whatever, but it's God, I love this. This is great. This is all I want to do for the foreseeable future. I think we're good with the blending there. Alright, so what I'm actually doing is I'm checking these tiles of the map to see if there's any corruption, because there was some corruption recently. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. It looks pretty scary. You can physically see it. It's like being in that movie, what's the Nolan movie, Inception. You know, where the fucking streets or the city was like turning upside down and shit. Like when a map's corrupted in sometimes in this engine, like it actually bends onto itself and it looks scary. But the good thing is it makes it easy to see, because if you don't spot that before you try to run the game and stuff, that could cause problems that you're like, what the fuck is going on? Alright, so these two are clean. We'll save it, and then I'll load in another tile. Let me bring in the southern tile. I want to check that one. I want to make an adjustment to that anyways. Dino says I have an Intel HD 3000. That's your CPU, I take it? I don't exactly know the specs on that. Alright, it loaded really quick. Alright, so that's here it is. See this? See all the gray shit? That's a corrupted tile. So if I keep that in the game, it'll ruin it at some point. That's gonna bleed into other data. Look at this. This is like what the computer sees when something's corrupted. So we're gonna overwrite that with good data, using a very simple process in a moment. If you played the game, it would look just like that too. Hey, what's going on, Wolf? How's it going, the Hunter? Your map size is more or less the 52 kilometers, say, a number, not an approximate. Your map, wait, let me read that again, maybe I skipped it. Your map size is more or less than 52 kilometers. Oh, square kilometers. Say a number. No, it's way bigger than that. Way bigger. No. This is well, there's two parts to this map. It's all one big map, but there's three parts actually. I'm gonna just comment on the two because it gets complicated beyond that. So the first part is the playable part that you can actually play now. The easiest way to explain it is this is the center, and in any direction there's this many deep layers, right? So it's 3 layers deep. That's about 200 and something kilometers there, right? But beyond that, there's 700 and something kilometers of playable that I just haven't materialed yet, because I have to do them one by one or else I get stuff like this happening. So it's actually about 230 playable right now. You could actually go to the other parts. It just looks like a black square. There's nothing there. So you could actually go and play the full 700 and something kilometers, but it's realistically it's only 239. That's actually like textured and designed and shit. So it's yeah, 50 would be more like it'd be like this and some more. But all the rest of the map is invisible right now, so I'm just loading in this stuff one by one. The hunter says, what? 700 and something kilometers? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to somebody from Epic. It was like a month or so ago, and I was telling them some of my information because I was trying to get help with something, and they were telling me that yeah, that's right at the limit to where they recommend I stop expanding, because it's going to have a phenomenon where it's like measurements are not equal anymore, and it's like it starts to, there's like this thing that there's a term where it's like float drift or whatever it is, and they were saying like stop doing it because it's like nobody else has any maps that are bigger than that they're aware of. So it's like they were just telling me slow it down. You don't actually need to like make it that big. You can actually scale some stuff within your area smaller and just do it smarter like that. So I've been following their advice. But yeah, as far as like how much playable, I mean, have you played GTA? It's bigger than that. So I think it's big enough. Alright, so I'm gonna fix this. See how the landscape is doing this stuff right here, this weird shit? It needs, that's corrupted data and it needs to be overwritten. It's just interesting to see how it's being read by the machine. Now, because I use a certain, I'm talking a little bit too much about some of this stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that. I have to wait for it to compile first. Doing it that big, I had to implement certain changes to the engine, and those changes are what's saving me with some of this corruption. Because if I hadn't made some of those changes, like once it does that, you can't change it, so you have to like start over with your map. And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen projects, you know, make announcements where it's like, oh, we're doing a new map, or we had to start over with the map, or build something up from scratch. Sometimes that happens where something gets corrupted and they have to do it because they can't recover the data. But luckily, the way that I implemented it into detail levels, so I can just take one of the other detail levels that was okay and like use that to overwrite the bad data. So it works out in the end. You can almost see it when you zoom out, like how sometimes it looks okay, and then at other times, well, actually this is pretty bad data. It's not really changed that much, so I'm gonna have to use a little trick. But you can see it's changing as you get closer. Those are the different sets. So all I do is take something from a clean set and use it on the other ones. We're just still waiting for it to compile. Dino says the Intel is the CPU and the Flu is the Intel 30. Oh, GPU. I think you meant to say GPU. The GPU is a 3000. So it's like an integrated graphics card is what you're saying, it sounds like. It's not a dedicated graphic card. Integrated ones have gotten much better over the years. Check my memory. It looks like we're still doing it on that. I guess while I'm waiting, one thing I can do is start to get rid of some of this lower grass and rely on the longer. Wolf says exploring the map is going to be fun. Absolutely. I'm trying to make it fun. I'm trying to make it so that it's not like you get the same thing in every direction. You get different biomes. You get different animals in each area too. So I'm trying to make sure that that's the case. But also, like, I feel like traveling is one of the things that should be fun to do in the game. So as long as it's not repetitive, there's certain principles that I'm applying to make sure that it's a fun thing to do. So one thing is it can't be meaningless or repetitive. So it should mean something when you walk a certain distance. It should give you either some benefit or something. It should affect the game in some way, other than just changing the scenery a little bit. Got a lot of ideas about how to make lots of different things that are usually boring fun to do and make them worthwhile. Let's see if we can get rid of this fog, because it's a little bit much. Down here is like where I want to start to do the mines and stuff. Damn, I'm still waiting for this thing to compile. Give me like a couple minutes. I'll be back. Gotta take a quick bathroom break. Okay, I'm back. Let's see here. Alright, I'm ready to overwrite. Hang on one second. Put you guys on this other screen for just a second. Make sure that this works first. Phantasmal Wolf says, "Oh, my question will you add little details to animals? Example would be birds eating bugs off animals, or birds cleaning birds. Hang on, sorry, the thing is cutting off the text. Or birds cleaning, eating what's between croc's teeth when they rest on land, etc." Yeah, actually, I actually have an example to show you real quick. That is something that I spent some time on. It's not working as quite as well as I want it to work yet, but it is working in some capacity. I don't want to show the buffalo, that's not the one. The buffaloes have them, but the rhinos have them on their hides. Let me see. This isn't the right video, I guess. There we go. So there's some birds on a rhino right there. Got him right there. Got him right there on his face too. And they're like they're eating the ticks and stuff. The reason I say it's not working exactly how I want it to yet is that needs to be linked to their actual like grooming and tick stat. And it's not fully it's not working fully for the AI. It does work for the player, so the player actually does have grooming that when the grooming goes too low, you'll be dirty and you have to like take a bath, or it has to rain for you to get that cleaned. It doesn't happen with the birds yet for the player, but the birds clean the AI. So once that's working, you'll see them fly on there, fly away if something comes towards the animal. Right now, they didn't fly away when I walked towards the rhino. There's examples of the birds on the rhinos, or the buffaloes too. So as we get close to this buffalo, this is months ago, so the buffalo looks a little better now. But when you get close to this buffalo, I think this one has birds on it. See, it has birds. They're all on the hood, they're all on the horns, they're on the back. The elephants don't quite have them quite yet. I want them to be like on the tusk and everything, but right now they're just on the elephant's head sometimes. So that's an example of the birds like cleaning the animals and stuff. Oh, look, it worked. Okay. So that's what the level is that's what it's supposed to look like when it's not corrupted. So I was able to recover it. There's a cool little area down here that I call the maze. And basically, once you get south far enough, there's like a barrier. This is a really cool thing that I want you guys to try to find. But when you get south, in order to keep going even further south, you got to get through this maze. And like each one of these paths leads to a different thing. And there's basically only a couple ways to get through without like getting stuck. Because basically it's just like a maze. You can go in and like some of the tunnels don't actually lead anywhere, so that'll be a cool thing that you guys can take a look at. But yeah, this is how it looks when it's not corrupted. I'm missing a lot of questions here, so I'm going to try to scroll up and get to them real quick. Leafy Knowledge says, TJ, can I ask a question about performance? Sure. I'll answer any question that I can. I don't always answer every question because sometimes questions are a little too off topic, personal, too secret, but I'll let you know. So you can go ahead and just ask a question. I'll let you know if I can. What is, let me hang on, let me make sure I try to go in order. That's also Wolf says, that's amazing, thank you. TJ, this is kind of important. Okay. Hunter says, it's you who made the animation of the rhino with the birds on it or not? So basically my answer is everything in this game I'm responsible for. I put it in the game. The details beyond that are just completely meaningless. You know, it doesn't add any insight to be like, well, this specific thing, you know, I got inspiration from here, or this specific thing I outsourced to this person or whatever. But it just, I'm responsible for everything you see in this game. That's blanket statement, true statement. It's in the game because of me. Let's see. Leafy says, nice, TJ. List. Now. Respond. Leafinar, you can answer. Or you can ask. Leafinar says, I can't even play on the lowest graphics, but it's still what does it say? The lowest graphics, but it's still FPS. Fix this. I'm not sure what you're asking. Type it slowly. Don't use all caps. And let me see if I can surely understand. It sounds like you're having trouble playing the game. Even on the lowest graphics settings, it sounds like that's what you're saying. Now, if that's true, I would need to know some information about like your system to know if there's any way that I can help you. Okay, so you're saying that's basically true. So then I gotta try to figure out, is it your system, or are you having trouble with what's in the game itself? One thing I might ask is, like, have you ever played the game before and it like performed good or okay versus now, like after an update or something like that, and it's like not performing great, but still only 8 FPS. Let me see here. The hunter says it's you who put every grass on its 700 kilometer or not. If yes, are you never bored when you do it? I think you're asking if I like hand paint. It depends, you know what I mean? Like if I know an area is just a grass field, you know, I can just make the brush really, really big and just paint it all in one go. Yeah, I gotta paint everything. Or like define for the system, like this is the area that needs to have all the grass put on and texture or whatever. Do I get bored? But like, it sounds like you're asking if I get bored from, like, let's say if the brush is like this small, right? Really, really small. If I'm like getting bored, I'm not doing this. No, I make the brush bigger to where I need to, and I feel like if it gets beyond a certain size, then I really should be like in the details doing something different with the landscape, because for you guys it's gonna look like just flat, nothing's changing. But I don't get bored with this game ever, doing anything, because it's all interesting. It's all stuff that I'm trying to figure out as I go, and figure out like what's the best way to like improve the gameplay, improve the environment, the experience, and everything, while not having like 8 frames a second and stuff like that. Leafnyar says, I could play Maneater on full graphics at 39. That doesn't really tell me much. I haven't played Maneater before. I don't know exactly what the thing is. So if you were to tell me, like, I have a certain GPU, CPU, version of Windows, DirectX, that would be useful for me to help determine if the problem is on your system or in the game. It might be a mixture of both. But like if you played, like for example, somebody said they played it before an update and it was fine, like they were getting like good frames, and then they played it after an update and then suddenly they were not getting good frames. That would help me, because then I know something I changed in between those updates is what's affecting that person's system. Because not everybody has the same issue. Like there are changes that I'll make that I know will impact performance, but some people may not experience that, and it's because their GPU behaves and processes information in a certain way, whereas other GPUs with like lower or less features don't handle the change as well, and that's why they get impacted more. So some people will report problems, whereas other people are saying they don't know what's changed. Nothing's changed for them. NVIDIA graphics is not a specific graphics card, Lifnar. They might not need to upgrade anything, Wolf. It might be something else. I have to have more information to know. I can't know that little information and just make a determination off of it. But generally, upgrading your PC to something new is generally a good thing for gaming. But like sometimes that's not fully necessary. Like they might not be able to upgrade it, so it's like if they're playing on a laptop that's like maybe not a gaming PC, or like if it's an older gaming laptop, it's harder to replace parts on a laptop. Okay, so it is a laptop. All right, so that tells me something there. Okay, so I'm not gonna say that playing on a laptop means you're not gonna have a good experience with it. What I am gonna say is PCs are usually better, more stable, and if you need to upgrade a GPU, like take the GPU out, put a newer in, and get a better gaming experience, that's much better, much easier to do on a PC, because you just simply open the case for the PC, pull the GPU out, put the new one in. With laptops, you gotta unscrew the bottom, you gotta move the screen thing to the side. It's harder to do on a laptop, and they're usually meant to not have to do that. So now that I know they're on a laptop, that's much more information. So then I gotta know, hey, well, has the game ever been performing better than it performs right now on your computer? If not, then I would like to know like what specific GPU is on your system, what CPU do you have. Then I can determine, okay, the PC can run the game, it's just having issues, or hey, your PC is just not up to par with the minimum specs that you need to run the game. That would help me. Windows 11, good sign. The Hunter says it's better consoles or PCs for graphics and quality. That depends on your game. That depends on what it is. PC or consoles are basically computers that are specifically tuned to play a certain type of video game with certain requirements. So some video games look great on console, and the requirements that they have are actually really low, but that's because the games that they publish on certain consoles conform to the standards of Sony and Microsoft's specs that they ask for, because they know what their consoles can do and can't do. They tell developers who are going to publish on the platforms, here are the requirements that you have to meet, right? If you meet these requirements with the way that you program your game or whatever, you should be able to get this many frames, right? And let's be clear about this. You cannot publish this game if it's getting under a certain frame count, because that makes Microsoft look bad. That makes Sony look bad because Sony's name is on it. Or you're publishing it in Sony's marketplace. They have those requirements. So people will meet those requirements, and the game should run at like a decent rate and stuff like that, right? But now if you took that game's code, right, for a console, and you, let's say, ported it to a PC, depending on how the game works, it may run better on PC or it may run worse with the same code. And it may run better or worse with a PC that's actually better and stronger and should be better than a console's machine should be able to run. So it really, you can't say that graphics are better on a console or a PC, because it really depends on what's being done. It's not a simple answer, is what I'm saying. It should be, though. I will say it probably should be the case that most PCs should have better graphical quality than most consoles, because PCs generally can have way more expensive parts in there. What are you going to spend on a PS5? Like $500, $600 or whatever? Imagine spending that on a gaming PC. That's not a lot of money. You can spend thousands of dollars on a gaming PC. Well, then you're going to get like 113 frames no matter what game you got. It's never going to get hot. It's always going to be able to let you run your game plus other programs in the background and stuff like that. You know, you got more RAM and stuff. PCs are just way more versatile. You can soup them up. They're like cars where you can put in super engines if you want to. Whereas consoles are like cars that are like stock vehicles, and like everyone gets the same model and everything, and you're not supposed to take the parts out and change them. So the laptops are like that too. Just think of laptops as more like scooters than cars. Leafnar says, I played once with 20 FPS. Okay, that's good information right there. 20 FPS is not bad in this game. Now, I will want to know, like, were your settings at Epic and you were getting 20 FPS? Or did you have your settings turned all the way down to low? Then I would be like, all right, well, 20 FPS on low settings are actually not that good. But if you had it, like, at Epic or just the default Epic on everything setting, then I think that's pretty good on your system, and we should be able to get you back there. Now it's 8. Okay, so if you played it in the past and you were getting 20 FPS, pretty much, that's good news, because we should be able to get it back. Leifnar says, I have an amazing idea for your game. I don't normally take ideas for the game, but like I always want to know what the player is personally experiencing with the game. Like, what do you like and dislike about the game? Creative ideas I don't normally take from other people, but I'll hear it. I have more ideas than I have time to implement right now. They're all good ideas already. Chances are I already thought of it. But the Hunter says, but why sometimes there are games that look kind of more beautiful on PC in terms of graphics? I mean, more realistic. Probably because people can spend way more money souping up their PC than they can on a console. With a console, you can buy the top of the line console that's available. Maybe they have a 128 gigabyte version versus a 64, for example. So there's two versions of the same console, but it's still a standardized console. So beyond that, you can't spec it up. You can't take out the parts for the PC, put better parts in, get better performance out later. PCs, you can do that. So PCs should, in the long run, and in a lot of other cases, be able to outperform consoles. That's why consoles have to come out with new generations every so often, right? PCs, you just buy a new GPU. Get the newest, latest, and greatest GPU from NVIDIA or AMD or whatever, and put it in your PC, suddenly it performs better without having to buy a whole nother computer. Leifnar says medium. Okay, medium, I can see. We're right at the line where it's kind of iffy, but like medium, if the point is, if you were getting better performance with at the same settings, then I think we can get that back. Makes it more realistic. Trust me. Leafnar, just go ahead and you might as well just go ahead and just type it in. Leafnar says, make it so that if you choose to play line, your main is a random size every time. It's never the same. Oh, okay, well, I already do that, Leafnar. Not specifically with the mains, but there's a lot of stuff in the game that's random. Like you can't. Part of the point of the game is you can't get the same result each time you play, even if you play it the exact same way each time, because so many variables affect the animal's development. Variables that are out of your control. Like already, when you play the Great Circle, you can't customize animal at all. You can only choose what animal you want to play. Do you want to play lion, leopard, cheetah, elephant, whatever? You can't go, I want elephant with long tusks, big ears, scars on the arm, or anything like that, because that's the point of the game is any changes that happen to the animal should happen during the life of the animal. So if there's going to be a scar in an animal, it'll come from an actual fight that you get in, and you get a permanent scar. If your animal falls off a cliff but lives, but then is like limping permanently for the rest of its life, that happens in game. You can't choose that. So that's the point of the game that I'm trying to make. With the main thing would be like that's affected by testosterone scientifically, but in the game that's going to be affected by your health, your grooming, whether you are well fed, less fed, that kind of thing. So that's not something that you can choose. Now the randomness of it, there is a certain amount of randomness, but it's hard for me to say what that is about the main, because the main is one of those things that I'm developing to try to look good while not drop frames. Right now it's very, very basic. Like it does have randomized hair, but it's hard for me to really explain it. You have to go in the game, take a look at the male line in the game. Go see if you can look at the hair up close. You'll see what I'm talking about. So it's not like a regular pattern or anything. It's just like random hairs because it's actual hair. But I'm trying to make it look good. Trying to put more detail in it and make it look good without dropping the frames. But it's a step-by-step thing. Leafnar says, can you make it available on PS4? Maybe. I have one. Don't know about console. I would like to make it available on consoles, but again, that's like a whole nother area that I have to get into. I can't say for sure that it will be. I can only say that I'm in favor of it, because it sounds like more players means, it's a bigger game, which I'm in favor of. I think we're about ready for the next. So if I load the next tile after this, it is then we're piercing into the newer things out there, because you can see how much further there. Let's see how much more map there is, and look how much map there already is. This is 1, 2, 3 to the center of the map. That's the center. Here's a layer. Here's a layer. It's 3 regions. There's all this to go, and it goes all the way around, so you can see how big that is. It's huge. So what I want to do now is load the other known areas and just make sure they're not corrupted real quick. Thanos says, I'm going to take a map, be back later. Alright, you enjoy. Wolf says, grow weak or grow strong is technically the game, along with the survival of the fittest. Yeah. Wolf says the map is long. It absolutely is. Hunter says, don't you need more bigger company to port the game into consoles? Don't you need more bigger company, like more people to help you? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You don't have to have a bunch of people. It'll probably make it easier if you know how to organize people and put the work in and everything. But I don't know that you need that. That would be best answered by somebody who actually does that. Wait, where's the fence? Where's my fence? It's supposed to be a fenced-in area. Oh, here it is. It blended in. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do was make this texture a little brighter on the horizon. Let's get rid of that fog real quick because I feel like it's obstructing my view. Can I just see through it? Let me see. Oh, there we go. Then it makes the background mountains look really ugly. Okay, let's see here. What am I seeing? What am I seeing? Okay, it's this smaller. So two things I want to change. That floor texture. I might have to leave the floor texture as is. At distance, I think that needs to be a little brighter. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can make that change real quick. We'll make it apply to all of the map. Wolf says, will there be small or long vines on the fence for age details, or will they stay brand new? No, they're gonna be like fences that are like rusted, and there's gonna be overgrowth on them and stuff eventually. Right now, I just have to have it looking like that for now. But there's gonna be like abandoned off-limit areas where you can kind of find breaks in the fence. I think that's gonna be really cool. Because you'll be able to go into like an abandoned little building or whatever and like use it as your nest if you want to. Hang on, I'm gonna grab a water. The reason this fence is new is because it's actually not an abandoned building. The building is in use. I can't say any more than that because the building is actually it has a role in story mode, and I don't want to spoil any of the story. But you'll be able to tell the difference between the used buildings and the vacant ones, because they'll be run down and stuff on the fence and things like that. Here we go. Let's see. Brighten up the field a little. That's a little better, but we got some contrast issues there, so it has to be a little darker. Brighter than before is the goal. Go a little darker. A little brighter. That might be the ticket. Yep, I think that works. Yeah, that works. That's perfect. Alright, let's look at the ground texture a little more. We could actually go a little brighter. Actually, there's patterns in this ground texture, so I can go here. That's a little brighter. As long as it matches, it needs to be a little bit brighter. I don't love this texture. I don't love it, but I will use it for now. These little grasses can be a lot less prevalent, I think. We'll go and let me go and make some changes to that. The chat bugs or what? What do you mean? Hang on, let me scroll up. I feel like I'm missing information. Wolf says, you ported the Great Circle on Steam? No. It's not a port. It's natively built for PC, and PC is hosted on Steam. And I want to know if you can tell me what are the stages to port a game into console. Is it different from having that? You would have to ask somebody who's done it before. I've never done it before. I know a bit about it, but I'm not giving a dev tutorial here. I'm here just to talk about and promote the Great Circle, really. Is there going to be much details when the game gets bigger? Is it going to be... It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to play. Yeah, there's going to be a lot more detail. What I'm doing right now is getting the foundations of the game in order. One of the things you have to do for foundations is define how big you want to go in terms of scale, world size, things that are in the game, and all of that. I've defined it as a very big and broad thing, which is great. So now I can go into each little department and fill it out and work on it and do changes and stuff. Mountains come first when you're doing big landscapes and stuff like this. Mountains come first because they are the biggest, most broadest change that you'll see. And then in between the mountains will be valleys and hills and ditches, ravines, latrines, and stuff like that. I hear thunder. If the stream just stops suddenly, it means the power went out. And I'm waiting for the internet to come back on. Just in case everything just disappears suddenly. We're still waiting for the thing to come back. This is like one of my favorite songs in the whole game. I've yet to do the scoring of the game stream where I'll just be making music for the game. I want to do that so badly. Very soon. I keep saying I should do it soon, but I can't. I keep having things to do. I want to be sitting here with the keyboard stuff, streaming the actual musical tones that we write. I want to stream the actual main theme being made. You know what I mean? The original theme, melody, or whatever, and that, you know, obviously, like in a lot of games, you'll have a main theme, and then that theme is kind of repeated in other songs, just expressed in different ways. I want that to be captured on the stream. I think that would be really cool. Just as I mean quickly, not every detail, like, you know, a summary. A summary of what was it again? I forgot the context of that. What were you looking for a summary of? Let's see here. Alright, we're back. Let's close this window, save a little memory. And we need to open up the grass for this. Number 4. Console port. Okay. Yeah, I can't talk about that. It has nothing to do with this game. It's developer stuff, you know. A developer would love to hear it, but I'm not giving a tutorial on that. There's plenty of people who could explain that better. They actually have videos on YouTube that explain that really well. I'm not going to be looking to do that soon yet anyways. I'd be looking to launch this game's early access before doing the port to the other places, I think. I feel like the desert might need to be brightened a little bit. I feel like maybe this texture is a little too Yeah, I think this needs to be a little bit brighter. I feel like it was brighter in the past. Like in the promotional material that I made for the recent roadmap. Let me see. I did the picture in the desert, and it seemed like it was brighter. Double check. Thunder says, okay, no worries. I appreciate that. I always appreciate people being reasonable. There's always some guy like, oh, bro, why can't you talk about it, dude? What are you hiding? Let's see. Damn it, where is it? This one. There it is. Oh, will you add small sand or dusty spots for animals to roll around in? Absolutely, because I want to kill you. I want to kill you. It's another way that the game can kill you, actually. So, like in the deserts where you have moist patches of dirt and stuff, what I'm doing is I'm putting in quicksand. Yeah, so all you guys who want to just roll around in the dirt, be careful. This is what I was talking about. It looks like the ground is a little bit brighter in this picture than a little bit. It's not much. A little fog. Let me see. It seems like the fog might have been brightening this up a little bit. The texture, I think, was actually a little bit brighter. So we'll go and let me brighten it up a little bit. Yeah, there's gonna be dusty spots. Certain natural disasters are possible out here, like quicksand, that are harder to find other places. Quicksand, dust storms are two examples. Dust storms will make it harder for your animal to breathe, so you will actually get to dangerous times out here where you can actually like suffocate in a dust storm or damage your lungs, that kind of thing. It's not really active yet, but it will be. I think that'll be a really cool feature, is that in any region or biome there's like a specific natural disaster that only occurs in that region that can really be debilitating or life-threatening. Fantastical Wolf says, oh my god, that's a thing? The game will never be safe. Exactly. I want the game to be a risk everywhere. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's like, I gotta challenge you guys. Like, I can't just be like walking around just waiting for your animal to grow up. You gotta actually have perils and things that like challenge your will to survive. Survival has to be an act of sheer willpower. You have to want to survive in this game. If you don't want to survive, there should be a million ways for you to die, I feel like. So part of my job is coming up with as many ways to kill the player as I possibly can. Here it is. I think this is the right. I think we're gonna do some scaling out here too. Let me see if this is the right desert. This might not be the right desert. That's dirt. Uh-oh, I might have an issue. Well, let's try this one. I at least want the far desert to be brighter. I'm missing messages. I'll scroll up and catch the ones I missed. Just give me a second to catch up with this. I'm looking for this to get brighter. It got brighter. Nice. Okay. That's what I wanted. Now I gotta to brighten up the near one too. Let's put the fog on, compare that. Yep, it looks good, I like it. Check the reference again. Fog might be a little thick. Might be a little thick. Because when I look here, it's a little thick. Actually, no, that's just right. That's perfect. Same thing. All right. Can you tell me the title of the song? Untitled right now. But I want it to have something to do with, I thought that song should have something to do with family ties to animals. So that's one of the songs that will play in those situations, because the game has situational music or whatever. Basically, there's a god, an unseen AI that looks and monitors everything in this game. I have a couple names for it. The African name is Duara. The other name that I call it is Deus, but it means God, basically. And what it does is it does things like monitor like how many animals are moving around close to you, and it'll hide the animals that are not near you, because they're all in the game when you get in. There's thousands. They're just hidden when you're not close by, that kind of thing. I'm talking about dev stuff. Shouldn't be talking about that. Anyways, the point is that same AI will mark moments like this is a sad moment, so it'll be like sad music can play now. This is a combat moment, so combat music can play now. It already does it. So that's one of the classifications, is like baby music that'll play when you're near your parent, or if you're playing around, it can trigger playful music and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to do with that. Jeez, the god is scary. Yeah, the god's trying to kill you. He's watching your every move. It's not supposed to be like interventive, meaning like if you're dying, it'll send you a hyena right then, or like if you haven't run into a hyena in a long time, it'll send you a hyena right then. It doesn't do stuff like that. It just makes it so that like the main thing that I use it for is just making sure the game doesn't crash. There's thousands of AI already. They don't spawn in. That's what some people misunderstand. I'm again giving away info. Like all the animals are in the game already. They're doing stuff. So you need an AI to kind of help control that. The AI are not scary yet. If you think the AI is scary now, wait, because right now there's like a easy mode thing that they do where if you'll notice, if you're just walking, they'll just keep the same distance when they get close to you. They'll slow down when they get close, and if you don't do anything, they'll get all the way close and bite you. But if you just walk at the same speed, it'll do nothing. But I'm getting ready to turn that off so that they come at you faster when they get closer. So that it's like you can't like just auto walk away from them. Like if you're just auto walking, you won't survive. They'll kill you. They'll definitely hit you. They won't miss, and they will kill you. Actually, I need to do that in this stream. That's like one of the millionth times that I've ever said something like, I need to do that in this stream. That I want to do. I've been meaning to do that so many times. Let me see here. Let me mess with this real quick. This is what I think I need to brighten up a little. I think I can brighten it using this. Nope, nothing changed. Alright, can't use that. Can't do it that way, at least. Let me look at the other thing. Oh my god, there's two? I need to go in here and fix that. There's some code issue happening with this desert texture. I did brighten the one that I wanted. Let me see about the other thing. I don't see the foliage. That's bumming me out a little bit. Alright, let's get the foliage working. Yeah, the AI is scary because he sees everything in the game. Yes, that's what it is. It's like a real God created for the game, unseen, having an effect on the world, but never you can't know what he's doing or what he's thinking, but you know he's always watching. That's the idea behind it. And part of the game goes into the mythology of the God. So the God exists as an AI, but also a real God that the characters talk about in the game, and they make references to. I'm working on always like little lore things, like what did they call its legend and everything, you know. One idea was the great power, you know, the great power is the God, you know. And then they make references to, you don't want to anger the great power because bad things will happen to you, you'll get sick and all that other stuff. There's stuff like that going on. I think it's really freaking cool. He's watching you secretly without knowing. Yes. I had a thing on the HUD that tells you what it's doing. You know what I mean? That tells you what the God is measuring. Oh, there's the foliage. There we go. But I took it off because it felt like it was just too much. It gave you too much help and it takes you out of the experience. It's too much information. Like it shouldn't be telling you that much. Because then you're thinking about, you're calling the animals AI at that point. I want to call them animals. Even though they are artificial intelligence, they're basically sentient. They're doing their own thing no matter what the player's doing. And I want the AI to be thought of in that way, or just not thought of at all. I only want everything to be thought of as the way you would think about it if you were actually out in the African bush. Okay, the foliage works. Okay, cool. We could use a few more like hills and whatnot out here too. Let's save everything right now before the power goes out and I lose some progress. Wolf says they see when you're hunting. They know when you're AFK, so be active for goodness sake. Like I made it rhyme. Yeah, like what if that God killed any AFK players? You always come back and you find your character dead because you were AFK. And what if it sent you a message that was like, you thought I didn't know? You thought I couldn't see? Well, now you know for good. I see everything. Hey, how's it going, Nadim? And Addy Man. Welcome to the stream. Hunter says, why does Path of the Titans not have any AI? Why? Oh, it's hard to do. It's hard to do. Addyman says Path of the Titans has AI. They do. It's limited though. It's like AI is hard to do. It's a whole field. You know what I mean? Like if it can be a major in college. Actually, it is. In video games, it's a whole thing in and of itself. That's why you can't just do it. You know what I mean? You can't just put AI in the game. You have to actually devote time into figuring out what's the AI for, what does it do, like how many functions do you want it to have? Should it be able to climb? Should it be able to look for the character? Does it run from the character? Does it have stats? Because it's basically you have to take up space for that AI as if it were a player. And that's why, you know, with games, either it's a big thing in your game, or it's not a big thing. So either your game is based on it and it's like a single player and you have AIs in your world, or you focus more on multiplayer. And if you do have AI, they're, to the extent that they have functionality, they're very, very, very basic. Like they're avoidance AI to where they always run from you the same way, or they're trigger AI to where you have to do something to get them to work. Like in Path of Titans, for example, that's an example of a trigger AI. You have to go up to a mound or whatever, press a button, and it comes out, and then it avoids you. So it's like a predictable thing. You can always predict it. In this game, I don't want the AI to behave in any predictable way beyond what their animal counterpart would do. So, yeah, of course, the rabbit's going to run from the lion, but he isn't going to run the exact same way. It isn't going to run at the exact same speed because each animal has its own unique stats. Some rabbits are faster than others. Not just speed, not just species, but like two African hares, one may be a little faster because it's bigger, better speed stat, or it might have had better food. So it's like those things affect the animal's ability to escape the predator, which is why every animal. That's why when you hunt in this game, it's like you're not just hunting any particular creature. You're hunting individuals. They all are different. They all have names too. Actually, sorry, only the alphas have names, but they're all going to have names. That's one way you'll know that every animal is unique. I don't have a big enough name list to make every single thousands of animals have their own name, but I do have enough. Actually, I don't even have enough for the alphas. If you notice, the ones that have scent markers, sometimes they repeat. You'll see two animals with the same name, but they are actually different animals. So it's like eventually the name list will grow to the point where it's like I can have thousands and they all have their own unique name, and that's the whole point. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to go for with that. Addyman says, are you the only developer? Absolutely. This has been my project from day one, starting 2 years ago, and it's going to stay that way. Well, I may hire some people later on, but like I can't do that right now. Wolf says, no, having AI give threatening messages is going to freak so many players. I wanted to do it just because I know it will freak people out. It feels weird, like there's something actually in the game talking to you. That shit is weird. That concept I always thought was a cool, horrific concept. If I was going to do a horror game, I would do one where the AI is like a living, breathing thing that is talking directly to you in the game. Like everything that happens in the game, to the extent that it can control the events that happen around you, you would know if I were doing a horror game that it's the AI doing things to mess with you. I think that's a really cool horror concept. And I have thought of this game in a horror way. I have thought of developing it more as a horror game a little bit, but I haven't at least gone in that direction much yet. I probably won't do the thing where Duara actually talks to the player. It's just an unseen force in the world. It's like a force of nature. But I am going to mention it in the lore soon. And yeah, I think the lore is probably just the best place. I don't want to give the player access to it because it kind of takes you out of the experiment, because you start thinking about AI and how to predict what it's going to do, calculate movements and stuff like that, and I don't like that. Hunter says, I'm talking about dinosaurs, not critters. Well, AI is the same thing to the computer. Admin says, Tesla, your demo, your demo is awesome. Oh yeah, I'm skipping back. I tested your demo, is awesome. Graphics, animal movement, better than I think you said it. It's I think you guys can see this. It's like blanked out for me. But you're talking about Animalia. Keep up the good work. You damn right. Where the Great Circle is going to be number one in African survival. The Great Circle has the best future. You know what I mean? Single player campaign, safari mode, survival mode, documentary mode, single player, co-op, multiplayer. Already have 98 species, gonna have hundreds, gonna have the most playables, has the best idea for the story, has the most innovative ideas for changing how people play survival games. This is the place to be, you know? Hunter says, personally, I love the AI. I love so much AI. It's immersive. Yes, that was my whole thing. Um, Now that I know it's possible to have thousands of AI and it doesn't really impact game performance, I know how to do that. That's something I'm never ever going to compromise on because it just does so much for the experience of survival in the wild. Because if you're in the wild, you would see butterflies flying around. You would see caterpillars on the branches and stuff. You would see rabbits running around. You would see bugs, and you see all those things here. Now it's just a matter of making sure that all the AI can talk with itself, so that the animals respond to like Duara changing the weather. If Duara makes it hot outside, the animals go for shade. Right now there's a lot of disconnection, but eventually they all already have the infrastructure in place to connect them all and make them all react the way that the player would. So essentially, you're already surrounded by a bunch of players. They're just AI. They're creatures trying to survive just like the player. They're looking for water, looking for food, looking for mates, looking for shelter, safety, all that stuff. They're all trying to do their own thing. All right, I think we're ready for the next tile. Let's save everything and then continue. Addyman says, no joke, the movement are great. Addyman, wait until you see the leopard grab a freaking deer or impala and carry it up the tree, because I can do that. And wait till you see one of those mid to smaller size creatures get grabbed by one of those rock pythons and just digested, because that's coming too. That's when the movement is going to really impress you. If you like it now, just wait, because I have way, way better stuff in mind. Hunter says, TJ, if someone asks you if you want to play AIs for the rest of your life or multiplayer, which would you choose? So if I had to choose one or the other, AIs all day. AIs all day. AIs all day. Players don't ever change, man. I mean, you get some role players who are really into the whole animal survival thing and they actually try to play the role of the animal, but you can't really rely on that for like a person's single player experience. If they jump into a server, for example, and there's a bunch of it's like a multiplayer server or whatever. First of all, you got a limit. Multiplayer, you can go like 100, 150, and you have problems on most games. With this, already thousands when you first load in. That's better. It's easier to control that in the game than like controlling a bunch of multiplayers differing connection speeds for the network and all that stuff. So it's like way better in terms of how many you can put in the game. Also, AIs can be made to act like animals, like act like actual natural animals, whereas players are going to be doing silly stuff a lot of the times because they get bored sometimes, and animals are just reliably going to be acting like animals. There's a lot of randomness in that too that I've programmed in and stuff, but like that's one of the things that made me choose to focus more on AI in this game, is because when I play other multiplayer games and stuff, it's just I just get a little taken out of the experience by the other players doing silly stuff all the time. So I want there to be animals in the world that are not players pretending to be animals, and a lot of times just doing weird stuff like mix packing and doing these weird things and stuff, but like animals. So AI all day if I have to choose, but I don't have to choose, so I won't. So AI is the base, The single player world full of AI is the base of the game, and then the co-op is built on top of that. So when you play co-op with your friends and you're on like the same team and everything, you're playing against the environment. That stays. When you play multiplayer, you have other players in the game, plus the AI, and you do compete if you're like opposite like creatures or whatever. But like it's the main base of the world is there whether the players or not. That's what I wanted to do with this. We could do a little more fading. Yeah, it's a little cut offy. Oh, there. Hang on. There we go. We could fade the desert into that a little bit more. A little bit more, I guess. I'll paint it a little bit. Wolf says, is it true that tribe hunters can tire out a animal and kill it when they are too tired to run or go any further? Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, right now that's the case in the game. Tribe hunters they don't have a stam rating yet. Unfortunately, I haven't turned that on, but I will so that it's not unfair. Because I think that the humans should get tired too. But right now, the tribe hunters, if you get like near the village or whatever, see these guys? If you get near the village or whatever and you're like a carnivore, they will come at you with the spears, and they actually can run at the same speed. So you have to outrun them or hide, but they don't get tired right now. So I will fix that. I will turn that feature on to where they actually are affected by their own stamina stats. So they can kill you like that by just running you out and just stabbing you, but like I will change that. But in real life, that's actually a strategy that humans have employed for like hundreds of years. I think they just tire out an animal by continuously encircling it and chasing it until it gets tired, and then they go in for the kill. So they will try that. They will use that as a strategy. Right now, it's just kind of a robotic thing that they don't have those stats affecting them yet. Addyman says, does lions, hyenas, tigers, etc. will have a pounce ability? I like what you did there, slipping in the tiger. So you can try to get me to confirm or deny. There are no tigers in the demo right now. See what I did there? Calling it the demo. The pounce ability is limited to currently the leopard, the wildcat, and the lion shows the prompt. So when you get close to something as a lion, it will say that you can pounce, but the pounce doesn't work for the lion yet. And also the pounce is not finished. It's very much a basic. This technically is pouncing kind of thing, but it has the placement needs to be right. The animal's proportions needs to be adjusted to the body of whatever it's jumping on. Also, I want that to link to like an instant kill thing, or if you get on the back, there's a way to get to the neck and clamp down and kill it like that through suffocation. To clarify, there are no tigers in the game presented as native animals. If there are any exotic animals, they're presented as exotic. Let me save the material real quick before we move on. Hunter says, TJ, it looks like you hate Animali, so I don't. Actually, I have like a basic amount of respect for other developers, especially indies. But anytime people bring a competing game on my stream, I'm gonna shit on the other game for sure. If people bring it up, I'm gonna shit on it. I have the right to. Right? It's not like it's not like the Great Circle. It's not like the other game does something and then the Great Circle does it after, or the Great Circle states that they have a certain, or that I have a certain creative direction that I want to do, and then other games do something else, and then suddenly the Great Circle does what the other games are doing. It's the other way around. I do a lot of innovation and inventing is what I want to do. That's why that's why I'm doing things that are not in other games, like documentary mode, cinematic view, things like that that are informed by me as a person and an artist. These are what affect the game's development. With other games, it's whatever the aisle's doing that affects the creative development of other games. So I'm not shitting on the other. Actually, I am shitting on the other game, but not not unless somebody else brings it up. But it's not. I don't hate the other game. I'm just going to do it because they're competition. So anytime somebody brings up that game or another, I'm gonna shit on it. So sorry. And they legit copy the shit that we do. Fucking the vulture. I remember the vultures was really funny because I remember when I put in the Griffin vulture in this game. I remember misspelling it a certain way because I thought it had like I spelled it a certain way, and then I noticed when the other game added their vulture, they misspelled the part of the animal's name the exact same way, and it seemed funny. I felt like if I did it again, they would do it again too. If I misspelled another animal, they would do it the exact same way. Like, we don't want to do humans, we're focused on animals. The Great Circle has humans, has huts and everything. Alright, we're gonna put some human elements and shit in our game now. Top hats for everybody. Yeah, fucking top hats. Actually, I can't. Actually, I should celebrate the fact that they're doing something completely different in that regard. I like that they can distinguish. I like that it'll be easier to distinguish between the two games. Mine will be more realistic. The animals in the Great Circle don't wear sunglasses, top hats, winter coats, and thongs. God damn it, I got to compile all that stuff again. Alright, let's see if we can mess with this dry grass while that's compiling. I want to do less bottom root. Oh, don't tell me that's compiling too. It is. Damn it. Alright, what else can we do? Oh yeah, let me see here. I think that this got cut off recently. Maybe that was just that one time. Maybe it was a one-time thing, but I was spawning in underneath this building in one of the builds recently. I want to make sure it's not me. push it up just a little bit. Just to be safe. Wolf says, I hate when supposedly realistic games let animals wear human objects or clothing, even though it's realistic. Maybe for like fun events like Christmas and stuff, but not permanent. Oh well, I'd be upset if because didn't they sell that stuff? Didn't you have to like buy those DLCs? That'd be messed up. They sell it to you, and then they take it away. I thought it was permanent. I might be wrong, but I think I actually saw somebody stream. There was actually Santa Claus in it with actual reindeer. I don't know if I'm wrong about that or not. It sounds like something that would happen. It sounds like something they would do, you know, with everything that I've seen. It sounds like something they would do. So I don't know if it's true, but if I had to bet, I think it probably is true. Things like glasses and stuff. Yeah, well, they probably have a young fan base. You know, there's a lot of young people that play Path of Titans. Really young players play the Isle too. I think the older players play the Isle more, but like there's like a young fan base, so probably that's like amusing to a lot of people. I think they should be more cartoon oriented, if I'm honest. Like I think they should go for more of a they should like embrace it. They should embrace that they want to be like the Isle / the Lion King and just go for it. Leave all this realism shit to the pros. I know what I can do while this is compiling. I can add some up downs. I can add some hills and stuff to the desert. Give it a little variety. No more bears. Well, actually, there's gonna be a secret in this game. Several, but it'll be a good one. Pleasant surprise. I feel like there's pleasant surprises awaiting you guys. No dinosaurs or nothing like that, but there are mysteries to be solved. Can parrots carry their babies? Not yet, but they will. You'll be able to pick up cubs for parents that can do that. Like a rhino won't be able to pick up a baby rhino, but like a lion will be able to pick up a lion cub. Hunter says my dream game is a realistic immersive animal game that has adrenaline on it and that you can do a lot of things in it. Oh, you're talking about the Great Circle. Adrenaline I talked about like last year. and I had implemented it for a little bit of time, but then I decided I wanted to do something. I want to go a little bit of a different direction. I now at this point I will bring back in adrenaline, but I want to do it as an extension of what I want to do with an animal reaching a top end speed and maintaining it. So basically, I want to reward players for like putting their finger on the shift button for a little bit longer. So basically, it's not just you go farther with by sprinting for longer. I want you to be able to actually get a little bit of a speed boost when you reach your top end speed and are holding the shift button for a certain amount of time, and you'll see that count down, and then once it reaches its end, your top end speed will get reduced again, and you're still sprinting until your stamina runs out, and then when your stamina runs out, your speed will reduce bit by bit until your animal's exhausted. I think that would be a realistic way to implement it. Now, the adrenaline part of that will be to the extent that your animal has adrenal glands, it can boost your animal's ability to maintain their stamina for longer, boost into a top end speed that's higher than what they actually have on the thing. So you have a top speed plus an adrenaline boost that would equate to something like ambush speed in like another game. So I wanted to implement it just in a different way. So you definitely will get that. You were thinking of this game, for sure. Fantastical Wolf says a rhino can accidentally run over the baby. Actually, yeah. Technically, every animal in this game has trample damage, so it just depends on the weight of the animal. A lot of animals just don't have their weight adjusted for everything else, so it's just neutral. But like, you can trample in the game. You can trample anything smaller than you, basically. But I put in for temporary purposes until I can put in like the babies avoiding the feet of the parents. I put in that the parent can't trample the baby right now. There's like a little shield protecting them right now, so it'll make it harder for you to hunt them if you're hunting them. And it'll make it easier for you to protect them if you're protecting them, or to hide behind your mom if you're hiding behind your mom from a predator. But there is the ability for them to friendly fire trample, and I will put that in as soon as I have a way for the AI babies to avoid the feet and behave naturally. But you can trample, if you're an elephant, you can trample something that's not your baby. You can trample like another baby elephant if you want to, or anything smaller than you. Just walk over it and it does damage. Even if you're a small animal, like if you're a fennec fox, for example, if you want to trample a rhinoceros beetle, you can do that. You'll see the damage it does. I'll be right back. Bathroom break. Okay, and we're back. The great thing about being hydrated fully is that you go to the bathroom every 40 minutes. Highly recommend it. Let's see. Do some hills. Do the eye test. We'll go in at eye level. Oops. Look here, and we'll just ask ourselves a question: where do we actually need a difference of elevation? It'll probably be wherever there's nothing happening with the foliage and whatnot. It's about right here, probably. There's nothing happening right here. Some different patterns. Hunter says, will each animal gonna be different from each other? I mean, for example, various skin colors, as well as size, tusk and horns, and things like that. For example, very small to very big ones. Yes, there's actually already that happening with, like, say, the elephants. The elephants all get like different size tusk and everything. So it's pretty easy to see the size difference for elephants, and that applies to all animals. I don't like this one, it's too sharp. Too sharp. For now, I'm just going to smooth out everything at the border just to avoid complications with the tiles. Everything's got to be smooth, smooth, smooth. Oh, what's that? Uh-oh. Looks like corruption. Oh, no, it's not. Here's the median. Let me see what this is named again. There's a name for this maze. Hunter says, what interests you most when you're making a game? I mean, what are you most focused on? Oh, good question. Well, on an interest perspective, everything about this game interests me. Everything. That's why I never get bored with anything, and I haven't gotten bored once since starting this game 2 years ago. Like, and when I say everything interests me, I mean everything from what animals go into the game, what the animals can do, what's the concept of the game overall, how different is survival in this game versus other games, what abilities do the animals have, how many different stats there are, how many attributes, how did the stats and attributes change. These are all things I have to work on and think about. What are the mechanics of the game? What is the balance of the game? How strong should a creature be in relation to another? How many levels should there be for the player to level up and for animals to level up? Should the animals be spawned in, or should they already be in the world? Should they be moving all the time or doing things only when the player gets close? How do you get the most performance out of the game? How do you fix these corruption issues with the tiles? How do you get a map bigger than GTA in UE4? Should you be in UE4 versus UE5? Should you be using Unity? Should you be doing all this kind of stuff? All of this is interesting to me. I love it all. It's very interesting. Haven't gotten bored once. Frustrating at times when there's a bug that you don't know what's wrong, or you have to do like the needle in a haystack thing. It's going to be frustrating, never boring. Always interesting. So I'm interested in all of it. The thing that I like the most is the story design of it. So trying to give context and meaning to this game. It's a survival game, an African survival game, but what makes it different is I used to be a filmmaker and a screenwriter, so I'm trying to actually create lore for this game and give it an actual single player campaign that actually means something, while also lending some of those story qualities to the survival mode where you can just play freestyle, no campaign. That's really fun. Coming up with characters, dialogue, missions, all that stuff is really fun. I would say that that's the most interesting part about it for me right now. Other than that, like, I like making a survival game, but if it was no different than like other games like The Isle, I wouldn't be as interested in it. Like, I'm not interested in doing stuff that's already been done, or there's already like an abundance of it. I thought of survival as being it should be a different experience, which is why doing the survival part of this game is really fun for me. I think of the survival mode as different from the single player mode, because number one, single player is a story based narrative thing. It has characters, it has a story, it has mysteries for you to solve, it has, you know, all the single player stuff. But the survival stuff, which is the main game mode right now, is freeform. You know, you kind of make it up as you go. You're trying to do one thing and that's survive. Single player is more complex. You're doing more than just survive. You're doing a lot of stuff. You're trying to advance the story. You're trying to find information. The story changes depending on how much information you're able to find out in the world, how many things you're able to accomplish. So you can get lots of different endings. But it's the stuff where I get to do something that other people haven't done, or I feel like I have an advantage in doing that interests me the most. So all the stuff that's in the survival right now, like more complicated stats, for example. Other games are starting to do that more now, but like that's always been a goal and a main point of interest for this game for me from the jump, is doing a more in-depth survival experience for the animal stuff, but also telling the whole story. I don't think you can tell the animal survival without the humans involved. Like, you can't say what it's like to be in the wild without talking about the impact of humans in the environment and what they're going through and how they're trying to survive. It's a survival story for everyone, for every creature, from every point of view. So we're trying to cover it all. It's a great big circle. Mix that with the lore of, you know, where it takes place. It takes place inside of a giant crater called the Great Circle, and it's like a dead volcano, and there's like a story behind that. And I already told you guys about the god, the AI, and all that stuff. So there's a whole lot of cool stuff that happens with the Great Circle. So I'm focused on all of it, but that is the thing that I would say that has my most interest. I would say, I mean, as far as like the amount of work that goes into one of the things that I do a lot is just try to keep the frames from dropping for every new things that I add in. Like everything that I've added in from day one has impacted performance, from bending of grass to like eating of food to putting water that you can swim in the game and all that stuff. So it's always a challenge to balance everything that you want to innovate and add to the game with everything impacting performance and fitting into your GPU or performance budget. But yeah, I'm interested in everything. I love it all. Oh yeah, let me fill these gaps in the road. Forgot about that too. There's a gap over here in Central. There it is. I think this is a gap. Hang on. So the road goes there, here, but then it's supposed to go in this direction. Oh, okay, this is the one that's supposed to go. Well, you got that road there, but it's like, why is it doing that again? I think this road was supposed to go to the west Savannah right there. I'm not sure where this was. This was going somewhere, but then it just cut off. I think we can like bring... I'm not sure which one of these roads would be for the cars. Hunter says, by the way, there's a hunting game made by 20 people and they promised it would be released in 2022 and they pushed it back to 2023. What a shame. Why big companies take a lot of time to finish a game? Well, I've ranted about this on several occasions on the stream, but that a lot of time has to do with bugs. And bugs are the one thing that like you can't, you're always going to have bugs pop up, but there are some bugs that are more dangerous to your project than others. Some bugs will kill your project. Some bugs kill games entirely, and there's a level of bug that will kill an indie game, no problem, and it will also kill a AAA game, no problem. It's rare that it will just completely kill a AAA game where it's like there's no coming back. What'll usually happen is it will be a bug that delays it for years. Usually that's I think what happens from what I hear, and the reason is there are certain bugs that can only be dealt with by going through your code line by line, and this is one of the reasons I love blueprints. But like and if you have to do that and you're a team of 20 that's written so much code that it takes you months to go through your code line by line, and find the bug. And in the meantime, you can't make any changes until the bug is found, because you're basically writing to a corrupted game already. It can easily kill a project or delay it by years. Easy, 100%. Those people work off budgets, and game studios, just like movie studios, do not like spending money. And then the people who are in charge, their answer is like, we are trying to fix a bug. We don't know where it is. We know it crashes the game, but we don't know where it is, and then we don't know how long it's going to take us to go through the code to find it. So when they hear that, and they know they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars every day, they'll pull the project, take the team off that game, put them on something else until they feel like they can deal with it. It easily can delay AAA games, 100%. And it just completely kills indie projects, because a lot of indie people don't spend like their whole day working on their game. They work on it part-time or whatever. It's a passion thing. So it's like they don't have the time to do that. So, some developers will just abandon the project because of that. It's scary. Imagine you made a game for 60 years and then a bug kill all that you made. I mean, if you're going 60 years, I don't think a bug's gonna kill your game. It's the startups that usually get it the hardest. It's startups and indie or AAA games with very limited budgets. Some of them will put an amount. They'll carve out an amount for bug fixes in their budget and stuff. But generally speaking, bugs are just the game killers of projects. They will delay a project easily, and they will be the cause of things getting pushed back for years. Got a little more compiling left to do. Hunter says, do you want all the things in your game to be different from others, or not like, or not at all, or not at all things like, for example, models and stuff? Because I think indie people buy some models, and their games look alike. Yeah, it's just the way that things work. AAA buy plenty of models and stuff. They buy stuff from other people all the time. What happens is they do them at trade shows. When they have like, or they'll have like things hosted on their website or whatever. If you're a professional 3D artist or something like that, you can like you can get a contact. Like they don't always do unsolicited stuff, but like you can get a contact with somebody and say I have stuff that you might be interested in or whatever, or you get into a trade show and all AAA studios or whatever are there looking for stuff. The good stuff gets bought by the people with the money, and then the stuff that doesn't get sold usually goes to like third or second, like other marketplaces, like different marketplaces online, where if you're an indie, you go and you buy stuff from people from those marketplaces. They're basically whatever the AAAs didn't want to buy. So it's not the case that AAA games always make 100% of their own products. They buy plenty of stuff. And the stuff that people end up buying on smaller games is stuff that they either didn't want or they already have enough of. So, this buying stuff is just something that everybody does. But less resources, people's stuff is going to look kind of similar. I believe in doing edits and changes and stuff like that. Or just not making that the focus of your game. You know what I mean? If you look at a lot of the promotional stuff for the Great Circle, like a lot of it is it's more focused on like the landscape and the bigness of the world. It's more focused on the world than it is just the animals. The animals are important and everything, but I think what makes the animals special is that they're all in a world that has context to where the world is bigger than you are. There's a lot more animals than you, and there's just a lot to explore out there. You know what I mean? Whereas other games may make this the main focus of everything. I feel like it's more of a full picture thing. You know what I mean? But if somebody says, "Hey, the grass looks like other grass," grass looks like grass anyways. So it's like it's not really a big deal. Nobody really cares. Players normally don't really care as long as they're like captivated by the experience that they're in. As long as they're not bored, nobody's really looking to examine that stuff. People do, but it's like a smaller section of people, and it's like you shouldn't really be looking for that kind of thing from an indie game. It's like where do you think they would get the money or time to like develop everything from scratch? It's just the way that it is. But I just want to point out, everybody does that, right? That's why AAA games, they have stuff that looks exactly the same too, because they bought from the same artist or whatever, or they hire somebody who does similar work on other projects and stuff. So it's like everyone does that. But it shouldn't be really an issue, as long as the game has enough going on that you wouldn't really care to look for that kind of stuff, What should I do down here? This needs some different stuff going on. This is just green stuff. We need I need something down here. We're supposed to be like a canyon or a tunnel or something that goes down here. But it's in this central region where it's supposed to be like... Maybe we can paint this a little bit. I'll see what that means. White Wolf Gamer, what's up, man? He says, "Hey, I love your new growth levels, but my game keeps crashing." Okay, that's good. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I think I have an idea of what to do about that. Is it for you? Does it say fatal error, or is it just crashing with no message? If it says fatal error, I think I have a fix for that coming soon. It's something that had to be done as far as like putting in like something that's happening in the background. That's why it's showing up, but like it'll be sorted really soon. I kind of had to wait because it actually has to do with the landscape. That's why I'm changing out all the tiles and stuff right now. Crashing with no message. Well, that's harder to do. That's harder for me to say. Oh, I know exactly what the problem is because it could potentially be something else. But I think it'll fix your problem. Um, but if it only has been happening since like a recent update, that's a big clue. Okay, but I am interested in this. So you do like the idea that when you level up, you automatically, you right then get like a 10% growth. You like that leveling is married to the actual growth and size of the animal. Because this is kind of a testing thing right now. I kind of want to see how it affects the gameplay. I'm going to be cutting that in half soon to kind of see how that feels, because you can actually like grow like 3 levels just by drinking water. You make it to a water source and you just sit there and you drink, and then it levels you up, and then suddenly your capacity for water grows, so you can immediately fill that up again, get the survival XP off of that. You level up again, and suddenly you're on level 3, so you've gained 30% of growth just by standing there and drinking. That's not very realistic, but I wanted to cut that in half and see if it's still cool or fun to do it. Another solution I'm going to do is just make sure that happens only when you sleep, so you can level up, increase your stats as much as you want to while you're awake or during the day, and then when you go to sleep, that's when your stats will fill in, so now your health will increase to the new limit. Your strength and your size will also grow to the new limit, and then when you wake up, you're stronger. Oh, but also be sure to go into the Discord and just put a little report into the bug report thing, so that I'll remember to respond directly back to it. What I'm getting in the habit of doing now is every time somebody reports something in the bug thing, I will, as soon as like an update comes out that fixes it, I'll respond directly to that bug report message and go, this bug has now been fixed in this update, and that way everyone's thing will get addressed. Well, it says yes, it crashed after the update, and the growth froze after the. Wait, yes, it crashed after the update, and the growth froze after the update. But I was a sub at level 3. It was so excited, even though I was only male. What are you trying to say, man? Male is less than? I'm just kidding. Hey, that's good. That's good. Let me ask you this: when you grew, did the skin get stuck for you? Like, that's one thing I had to I just checked on recently. I couldn't reproduce it. Like, it happened for me in the game, but I wasn't able to reproduce it in the editor. So that either means I fixed it inadvertently, or there's some other cause that's happening from Steam to player. But was it when you grew, if you remember? It might be one of those situations where it only happens for certain people with certain GPUs, but I just want to see. Oh, we're ready for the next tile. Let's save it, and then let's open that next piece. Let's get the southwest first, because that's the most reliable thing. That's also been performing well. Oh, okay, so the skin was fine for you. Okay. It's a little tricky with certain bugs. It's like For some reason, some GPUs can handle it and others have issues. But we'll get that definitely working the same way for everyone soon. Alright, let's get this other region loaded. I can't wait to do the thing where, you know how like in sometimes movies will show you like a really zoomed out picture of an area on the map, and then it zooms in and like it goes really, really, really far in, and you realize how big the area is. I want to kind of do that with the Great Circle too, where if you happen to be a bird that can fly really high, like the landscape looks completely different if you're at like 30,000, like, well, not 30,000, like going 3,000 feet above. I don't know what the limit is for birds for fly, but the birds that fly really high want to be able to see the game in a completely different vantage point, and for it to render differently. So you'll actually see that you're inside of a crater, a huge crater, and you can look outside and see the rest of Africa as a continent. I think that'll be really freaking cool. By the way, after you see it, you die from decompression when you come back down through the atmosphere. Or whatever the thing is that birds are not supposed to fly above a certain height or something like that. Well, says, I have a question since you're cutting the growth time in half. Is it going to be a time when you meet the pride? Good question. So I'm not cutting the growth time. What I'm doing is I'm cutting in half the amount of growth you get for leveling up. Right now it's 10%. I feel like that's too much. The point of that was like, the idea of it was like every 10% is like until you reach 100% of your growth, then you'll be at 100% of your size. But realistically, you're not starting off at 0 or 1% or 10% of your growth when you start the game. You're actually like either, depending on the animal, from 40 to 75% of your growth is where you're starting from. So it makes sense that if I want it to be equal, you know, I would only apply the 10% per level if you're starting off at literally 10% of your whole size at the very beginning of the game, and not 35 to 75%, right? So I'm going to cut it in half so that it's 5% of your size addition, and we'll see how that feels. Just kind of taking a blind look. I'm not solving that problem on paper. There's a mathematical way for me to solve it on paper, so that's like you get the actual proportional growth compared to how much more is left in your time. I want to see what happens with different players who actually get to the full size of their growth, plus let's say they wait till like right before they reach their full size to do their last level up, and see if they can get to be bigger than normal animals, because before it was just a time-based growth thing where it would increase, but right now you get the time-based growth plus whatever you get with your level up. So whichever one comes first is what stops the process. If you level up through time first, then right now your levels you will gain still growth when you level up. There's not a rule that says once your time growth is done and you reach 100%, if you still have 3 more levels to go till you reach level 10, which is the level cap, you still get the growth boost beyond your 100%. So you technically could exceed the animal's maximum size. I'm going to cut that back soon. I just kind of want to see where people would go with it. But what the rule will say is if you're at 100% when you run out of growth time, then every time you level up, you won't get any growth boost. Or if you level up to level 10 and you really had like 2 more days of growth to do, you won't grow anymore from time. So it's going to be one or the other. But that will have there are certain ways you'll be able to exceed that. And I'll get into that later. But right now we're kind of just exploring the idea of that every time you grow, every time you level up, you get an immediate growth increase. You just kind of see how that feels for a gameplay thing. Realistically, the level cap is going to increase to 100. I don't know that every animal will be able to strength up to level 100. Some animals may have a level cap of 80, 90, but I just know the elephant at least will be able to get to level 100. And we'll see what happens with the other animals and stuff. Oh, and as far as is it going to be a time when you get to meet the pride? So where I have it right now is you're talking about a lion. So the lion gets a mom. You can join a pride if you find one. Right now, however, it's limited with like pride, except like they won't attack you. But what I'm working on now is like for the animals to have first meeting greetings. So when they meet you for the first time, they'll greet you. Or if you join a group and you're new, they'll come up and they'll give you a first time kind of greeting gesture. So they'll come up to you, sniff you, or do like the mother does when she comes up to you and she does the heart emotes and you do the heart emotes automatically in response. It'll be something like that. Like there's a ritual that should happen. So the AI are gaining that ability. The mom has it and she's basically kind of testing it for the rest of the animals. You'll see that when that happens to you. You'll also just happen to see it in the wild when you see animals joining herds or meeting for the first time or whatever. They'll walk up to each other and do like first time meeting things. So I'm just working on the switch that basically shows each meeting for every animal, because every animal is unique, and then I'll like implement it for everywhere reliably. There we go. Here's that region. So now I get to line up. Oh my god, if that road lines up automatically exactly where I thought it was going to be, that means I'm a genius. Let me see. I don't think it will. Okay, it didn't. It comes close, but it didn't. As soon as it loads, I'll be able to move the camera. Right now it's still compiling. But yeah, the way that it is right now, you're not in a pride and your mom's not in a pride. She's just on her own. But I'm working on, the way that I want the game to start for people is there are a number of scenarios that could be, and they're randomly selected when you start. So one scenario that can happen is you're a baby animal on your own. That's the way it's been before the mother AI came into the picture. You just always started the survival game on your own. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is you start off with a parent. That's the way the game is set right now. You always get a parent if you are a leopard, wildebeest, elephant, giraffe, or any other animal with a parent. But it's locked to that. So now you can't have the baby by itself kind of situation. Yeah, another situation I think makes sense is starting off with parent and like say siblings. So like if a mama has a litter, so there's more than one baby, then you start off with the other babies. Another situation would be you're there and your sibling are there and your mama's dead or something like that, or the mama doesn't come back. I want all these possibilities to start really soon, so I'm putting back in the possibility to start with no parent, but it's always random. And this is to reflect the situation that any animal can be found in any situation in the wild. Like sometimes calves are found abandoned by their parents, or like the parent died or something like that. So I want all of these to be conveyed in the game by those different starting points. Here we go, we can move now. Let's go down, we'll connect the roads. Actually, we gotta change the landscape material out here. And we're gonna level that out. So what we're fixing, red means bad, green means good. We want to turn to red green. Let's just get rid of the thing first, and then we'll... White Wolf Gamer says, "Okay, I have a few questions now, and don't worry, it's only about one animal. Oh, it's all right. You can ask as many questions as you want." How's it going, Mash? Welcome to the stream. Ash says, "I have a question. How do you get early access for the game and not the demo?" Early access is not available for anyone yet. What is available is if you're a Patreon supporter. That's in the link in the description. You do get more access to the current game or the current demo than just regular demo players. So that means you can play more of the animals. Right now in the demo, if you're not a Patreon, you can play leopard, you can play giraffe, you can play wildebeest, and secretary bird. That's 4. But if you are a Patreon supporter, you have access to up to 30 animals on the roster. 27 are actually playable. There's 3 that are in there that's grayed out. You can't select them yet. And then there's humans and stuff that you can try too on the other side. So you can access more. You can access the documentary mode and the as a Patreon supporter. And this is kind of a preview to what's going to be in the early access, but it's not technically early access yet. But yeah, if you become a Patreon supporter, which means Patreon is like a platform that lets people like subscribe to an artist and like get content for subscribing. It's a paid subscription kind of thing, and I use it as a way to support the development because mystery development costs money. But yeah, and for that, I basically just give more access to the game. And what I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of permanent stuff that I can do, like for everyone who's like members of the community right now before other people are in. There's like something that I can do with your Steam ID to where you're like recognized as like an early member of the game, which means you'll have certain benefits. Like I think I was talking earlier, like something like a legendary status or whatever, where you're able to do things like exceed the level cap, or it's a possibility for you to exceed the level cap, so you can actually become stronger than other players. Like when the multiplayer thing comes in, for example, you'll see that some players have that legend tag, and it means they have the ability to get stronger, potentially. And it will be something, yeah, it'll be something like that. The basic point is I want some kind of benefit for all the early people that you can't buy later, or like you can't earn it later. The only way you can get it is by being in the Great Circles community early on. I want to do something like that. and I'll have perks and stuff for people later on, but like I want something that can't be purchased later on, or something that can't be earned, and yet something that is significant and useful. I think that would be a really cool idea. White Wolf Gamer says, will they be a tail flickering for lions? Or will there be a tail flickering for lions? Will there be attack animation for lion fights each other? Not not to be weird about, not to be weird, but be a flirt animation for female lions trying to distract. I see what you're saying. So number one, will there be tail flickering? Actually, there already is, to some extent. Like the lions flick their tails already a bit, not very much. But I want to do something like when the male lions are on the attack with other males, like they do raise their tail sometimes. I want to do something like that. I've been able to do it with like the wildcat. I haven't implemented it for like the other animals, the other cats, but I want to do something like that. The tail flickering, I think we'll probably have some more, like to kind of help signal certain things, I guess. But right now, just the flickering that exists, it does exist at some point, at some level. Number two, will there be an attack animation for lions fighting each other? Other than the ones that are in right now, those actually are attacks, behaviors and stuff. I want to have more, like the pounce for the lion. I want to make use of the forearms and the placement of the animal on the other animal's body for like when they latch on to things. It's just a little bit tricky with the code and stuff. So yeah, there will be more. There already are. And then the last thing is, would there be flirt animations? Well, actually, I want to go through the whole process of mating. So like, I want to do the thing where once your animal is like sexually mature, they do whatever their ritual is for the animal. So like you go, for example, some animals go to a place where there's like mating grounds, that kind of thing, and they actually will find a mate by fighting other animals. So if you win, if you have to go to a mating grounds if you're a certain animal, and you have to like fight other males, and if you get the alpha status, then suddenly the females will be attracted to you. It'll be like a mini game within the game, and you basically have to go do the whole song and dance if this is what your animal does in order to court or mate an animal, right? And then once you have the mating rights, then you can choose the female that you want or whatever. You can go and do the mating ritual with them. But there is like a mating call component to this, to where you can actually try to attract a mate by doing that. And the idea is like, if you fight more, that's better. It'll increase your chances. But if you want to like maybe not fight but just do mating calls, and you'll have a lower chance of getting a mate that way, but it is possible to do. As far as like a distraction thing, that sounds like a player behavior. You know what I mean? I would have to see that animals do that in order for me to program that into the AI, because I'm only doing like realistic animal behaviors and logic and stuff like that. So if I find that animals do that as an actual tactic, I will program it in. Mash says, do you have to be in the Discord to be part of the community or a donator? Not necessarily. You don't have to be in the Discord to be a donator. So you could donate and not join the Discord. If you join the Patreon and you're a Patreon member like that, one of the rewards of that is you get a role in Discord that identifies you as the Patreon supporter, and within that, you're able to see certain channels that other members of the Discord can't see. Like there's a channel that I stream in sometimes. There's a Patreon's only channel, and I'll put information such as just Patreon only information in there that you get for being a Patreon, and I'm able to like share things that, you know, as a reward that other people can't see. But it's better to be a part of everything that you can. So yeah, there's two things you can do involving supporting the game with finances and money. So number one is the Patreon. You can become a member, and it's like a monthly subscription thing, or you can do like a one-time donation at PayPal link below. A lot of people understand PayPal, so I made one of those. And if you just want to give to the game, that's highly appreciated. That's 100% appreciated. You can donate at that link. And there's a Discord link down there for everyone. But it will identify you as a Patreon supporter if you do join one of the Patreon tiers. Mash says, are you going to add smuggling for lions? Oh, snuggling for lions. Yes, 100%. I'm very interested in like those little flavor behaviors and animations. So like snuggling, nuzzling, showing affection in different ways. I have the hearts there right now, but I want there to be like, physical nudging of the heads to show affection for certain animals. So I am working on that. White Wolf Gamer says they do it. I'll send videos, but it's rare, I guess. I only seen 2 or 3 videos when females distract males. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So, like, the females that are trying to protect their cubs, for example, from the males, because they are, like, cub killers, I can understand of doing that like that. I just wasn't sure if, when I did hear about that, if it was actual mating gestures that we're doing, or they were just doing just regular distractions. Because your question was specifically about using mating behaviors to distract. That sounds like a player thing at first, but if they do that, then that gives me the right to do it as the AI as well. Let's see here. Rest talk, where is it? See, what do I want to do out here in the Southwest? I think I want to do dry. Should I do the green, the long greens? Probably safer to do the dry. White Wolf says, yeah, true. It's like fake mating, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, the certain animals do have like a surprising amount of intelligence, like ravens are just freaking shockingly smart. But that seems like a very intelligent, intentional thing for lions to do. Here we go, it's ready. Let's replace that material. Last question, is there going to be more laying down animations for lions? Yep, I'm going to be expanding that too. I like variations of everything, so I'll be adding like lay on the side, I'll add the roll around on your back kind of stuff, and then other things too, because right now it's limited, but it's like limited in terms of like what do you need to function, the most basic stuff. You need at least one sit down, you need one sleep at least, as long as it's satisfying that, and there's other animals that don't have it, it's not really a priority to get those variations in yet, but it is the goal to get as many variations of the physical behaviors as possible. So definitely those other lions laying down and sleeping stuff I'll be able to do soon. Excuse me. That piece was great. I'm still thinking about how great it was. Alright, as soon as this compiles, we're ready to go here, but luckily I can go ahead and start releasing the old data. Okay, we're just about there. Now we switch back. Switch again. Save the progress. We wait for it to compile. I'll be right back. Bathroom break.
Yeah, it looks good. So if you just click on it and then open up the material.
Let me see here. I'm back. Um, Wolf Gamer says, I don't know if this would be more of a question or a request, but is it possible for us to sleep on command instead of waiting until sleep is all the way down? Yes, actually, requests are actually fine. I'm interested in people requesting things to add to the game to make it more enjoyable. That's perfectly fine. Um, yeah, actually, so the way this is planned to work out. So there's two types of sleep that I want to do. One is a long-term REM sleep that when you go to sleep, it's like when you wake up later, it's like 8 hours later, or like a lot of time has passed. And that is currently in the game, and that's the sleep that when your sleep bar runs out, your animal will just lay down and it will go to sleep and it will change. Um, the other type of sleep is like a short-term nap, right, where no time will really pass other than what you can observe, but you can rest and regenerate some stats, and that will be a on cue kind of thing. It's not in the game yet because it depends on certain things, like I want your animal to be able to sleep when it's at home or whenever it marks an area for like its nest or something like that. So it's just waiting on certain other things to be added in. But you will be able to take naps on cue. Sleep that is long term, it's called REM sleep, scientifically rapid eye movement sleep. That is just something that your animal needs to do, and that's why when your sleep bar runs out, it automatically does it. But I want you to be able to take a nap. You can already rest by just sitting down, and then you'll notice your stats regenerate faster that way. But you will be able to like take a nap as well, and that will give you a different level of recovery and rest and other benefits and stuff soon. So we will have both types of sleep, and one will be a thing that you can just do on your own. You won't be able to do rapid eye movement or REM sleep on command yet, but I'm thinking about how to implement that on command if so. Mash says, "Are there warthogs?" Yes, actually, there is a warthog in the game. I need to do a lot of work on it, but it's in there. You can see it sometimes. They don't run in groups right now. Only the wild boars run in groups, but the warthogs, you'll see them kind of on their own. They're not common yet, but they will be. Do the warthogs have digging abilities? No, the warthogs don't. The only animal that has digging ability right now is the meerkat. Meerkats can dig out grubs if they're on a diggable spot, but the markers for where those spots are not developed enough to where it's like obvious to players yet. Really, it only it they happen around like rotten wood and logs and stuff is where you can find dig areas, but the meerkat is the only animal that can dig at the moment. But warthogs will be able to dig. Oh, need to mute this for a second. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so I've made a decision. I think I'm going to. This was previously all green grass region. I'm gonna go ahead and do it dry grass right now to just match the region next to it. And I think I probably should just do this automatically, just make everything dry, so that when we have the rains come in, they will be what turn the grass green over time. So we'll go ahead and just paint this the way that we painted the other one. So exciting, the idea that the landscape will change over time and we can actually use time as a functional feature of the survival experience. Time being the thing that changes food or unedible regions to edible regions. Time being the thing that will allow herds to move from one region to another, changing your hunting locations and things like that. That is really, really cool and realistic. Alright, let's see here. Let's just render out that first quad. There we go, it works perfectly. Alright. So we're going to paint the border and then we will move to smooth everything out as soon as that's done compiling. Oh, what a wonderful day to develop. It is raining outside. I love rain. I love overcast. I love wet days. I like to be inside during them, so I can't really say that I fully enjoy them. I just think it makes really good scenery for a creative mind. Also for filmmaking, for all the soft light. Soft light is great. Let's see. Come on, it's trying to catch up. Catch up, catch up, catch up, catch up, catch up, catch up, catch up. Okay, so I think this is actually a good place to end the stream. I need to go offline to save a little memory to do some of these painting maneuvers that I need to do and check some more quads for corrupt data and make sure that the whole map is functioning perfectly fine. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. You can follow The Great Circle on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, every social media. Just type in The Great Circle or follow any of the links in the description. The Great Circle is available for PC on Steam. Go to Steam and type in The Great Circle or follow the link in the description to our store page. You can download the free demo today and try it out. Add it to your library, keep it forever, get updates automatically, and press wish list to be notified when the full early access becomes available. You can buy that and have more access to the game, get more features, animals, creatures, all that kind of stuff. Thanks a lot. Don't forget you can also join our Discord and be a part of the community, keep up with the development more closely there. And alright, thanks. I'll be back later on with another stream to answer more questions. Thanks a lot for everyone who participated. You can post any questions you have in the comments. We'll go ahead and take a look at that later, but I'll see you a little bit later with more The Great Circle. You take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day.